Hello and welcome back to another edition of the Severe MMA podcast. My name is Ian O'Neill and today I'm joined by SBG Cork's Pa Lehane. Pa has represented Ireland at the European and the world stage at the IMMAFs, and he is going to be making his professional MMA debut in a couple of months in July, on July 24th at Battle Arena in Birmingham. Pa, how are you doing, man? Thanks for joining us today.
Not too bad at all, man. How are you getting on?
I'm doing good. Pa, like I mentioned, I'm just curious, and I kind of am curious for everyone that I speak to. How did MMA come into your life? Were you a part of combat sports like from an early age, or did you come into it later in your life, or what? What was your road down into MMA?
Yeah, so as a child, my family, they kind of put me into taekwondo, just like, every kid kind of does taekwondo at some stage in their life or whatever. So I did that for a few years, and then I didn't really like it, so I fell out of love with that. And my brother started boxing, so I followed my big brother into boxing then. I got deep in that, so I was doing that for a good few years. He stepped away from the sport, and then I kind of kept going, not really wanting to make anything out of it, just doing it because I love to do it. Then one summer the boxing club closed, and I didn't want to do nothing for the whole summer holiday, so I looked up. I was watching McGregor at the time, so I looked up any MMA gyms around Cork, and there was an SBG in Cork, so I was like, fuck, savage. Nice. One in my county. That night I texted them. Marlene Griffin replied back, and the next day I went to the gym, did my tryout or whatever, and I've been hooked ever since. I quit boxing then because they weren't very happy with me doing both, juggling both sports or whatever. So I quit boxing and went full-time MMA.
Nice. And I guess you progressed and you went on to the IMMAFs and represented Ireland at the IMMAFs. And I'm just curious, like how did that whole setup, the IMMAF setup, the fact that you could go and represent Ireland, did that must have helped you quite a bit in your early career to kind of mold you into getting prepared for the professional ranks. So what was your experience like competing at the IMMAFs and all those preparations with the Irish team and everything like that?
Yeah, I think that the IMMAFs are absolutely unbelievable. Like, they gave you an opportunity to fight people. Usually when you're amateur, a lot of people only have a couple of amateur fights, and usually just in their own country, or maybe they might have one or two in England or something like that. But I got to fight the hardest wrestlers, in the hardest, the best strikers, the wrestlers from Russia, everyone from all over the country, over the world that I might not be able to fight if I was just amateur.
And I guess that's the bonus of it, right? Like back, you used to probably have to fight on local shows and stuff like that, but when you're being brought onto a world stage as well, you're getting molded and you're preparing against some pretty elite competition. So it's pretty good. And with going on from the IMMAFs as well, you competed at a regular basis at an amateur level. Obviously your last couple of amateur fights didn't really go to plan, and I'm just wondering, like, was the move to turn professional kind of forced upon you with the pandemic, or does it kind of align up with what your original plan was to turn pro anyway? It's just the way it worked out, that with the pandemic and everything, that you just went and did it on the same time scale, or was it more forced on you?
So with my amateur career, I literally just took every fight I could possibly get whenever I could get it. Just racked them, no matter how tough the or whatever. Just took them. So I think I gained a lot of experience, a lot more experience than a lot of the amateurs in the country and things like that. So I was gonna do another IMMAF and wait another year or so, but because of COVID pushing everything back, I tried to schedule a good few fights throughout lockdown, whether it be in England or whatever. Cage Legacy, that fell through, and it, like, a lot of like false starts and things like that. So I just kind of made the decision, like, I didn't want to wait around another year to maybe go to the IMMAF. It was very unsure. I win a gold medal in IMMAF, so that was one of my goals before I turned professional. But I didn't want to wait a full extra year, so I decided myself that I wanted to finally start making money out of the sport. You know, I've been.
So I guess like would it have been, you probably would have at over the last year, and I guess maybe one of your reasons why you did turn pro is it's probably easier for you maybe to get a fight at the professional level than it would have been at the amateur level. Would I be correct in saying that?
Yeah, in a way, like I fought. Yeah, right now, yeah.
Right now, yeah.
Usually, there's a lot of shows on there, and I was able to fight regularly enough.
Yeah.
But at the moment, professional is the way to go if you want to get fights. And I
Nice.
don't know how long stuff will last. Like, you know, in Ireland, it's going on for a good while, so who knows?
Yeah, well, it's good to see you getting set up at a fight for sure. You really finished off your amateur career the way anyone would want to finish it off. You had a fantastic knockout with Cage Warriors, and you followed that by a submission victory as well. So 2 finishes. Yeah. Does that give you confidence coming into your professional debut that you're more than ready for this opportunity and you're chomping at the bit to get in there and showcase your abilities?
Yeah,
you're always going to be looking for the finish.
100%. I was only kind of getting into the flow of it. Like I was always fighting good guys, and I was coming up kind of short in hard fights, but I learned from every single one of them. I gained a lot of experience from every single one of those fights, and now at the end of the career, my amateur career, I was kind of putting them together. I was feeling good. So I had a few more booked and things like that. I was going to do it for a bit longer, but the pandemic happened. And I feel more than ready to go pro. Like I'm a lot better than some of the fucking people we fought at the IMMAFs. I swear they destroyed some of the people in Bellator or some of the big organizations. There's some monsters in.
They're absolute monsters. I agree with you 100%. Some killers there, and the future is definitely bright with a couple of those fighters coming through now as well. When getting down to the training aspect during the pandemic, obviously there's plenty of negatives around everything with difficulties finding fights and everything like that. But is there any positives that you could pull out of the pandemic when it comes to training wise or anything like that? You know, you've pretty much had a full year to prepare for this fight now since your last fight. And I'm just wondering, what was the training like for you, or what has it been like for you? I know you've been doing a lot of work with Liam Oak down there as well. So have you felt that one-on-one time with Liam and with the other coaches down there has proved a benefit to you?
Absolutely. Liam gives me so much time all the time. You know, he's always giving me, you know, he's made a lot of free time just for me. So I really appreciate it. But the biggest thing I think for during the pandemic is being able to get COVID payment and not work and train full time, which is actually it's bad because we don't have a lot of training partners and things like that, but it's good because I get a full wage every single week and I'm training like that's why I like it. I'm excited to get for everything to go back to normal, but having to get a job again will be bit of a buzz, like.
Yeah, like I guess when you don't have any fights, you're not going to have any sponsors either. So times can be tough for fighters like yourself, you know, to keep things going, like when you're trying to do it on a full-time basis as well. Like you're slowly getting back into the swing of things down there in Cork now, and the gym should be opening up pretty soon. I guess you're doing some work outside now as well. Is that right?
Yeah, there's outdoor classes are allowed now, I think.
Nice. So moving ahead and talking about your upcoming fight, you're fighting Nathan Epps at Battle Arena in Birmingham. Give us your thoughts on that fight, how you think it'll go. I know Nathan has some boxing experience himself. Do you feel like you match up well with him, Pa?
Yeah, so I've I'm like primarily a striker, but I fought a lot of people. He's like a long, tall, lanky kind of Thai boxer, kickboxer. No real power in his hands. You know, he's old or whatever. I fought a fella, Jamie Morrissey from Ireland, from Limerick. He's literally the exact same body build as him, the exact same style as him. So I've actually got experience against people exactly like him. I think I'll be able to. I'll be able to take him down when I want to, and he's kind of slow enough, but like sloppy with his hands and things like that.
Sure.
So I have no doubt in my mind that I'll be able to absolutely butcher.
Nice one. And when it comes to your training right now, we're still a little while out from your fight. Just wondering where your training was at. I'm sure that you had yourself in peak condition in preparation for your fight at Cage Legacy that fell through. I wonder, did you have to taper down a little bit in your preparations and then try slowly build back up to try and peak again, maybe for this upcoming fight? Or like, how did you kind of make that adjustment? Because you were basically preparing to fight and it didn't happen. So how was that for you? And did it have any effect on you mentally?
Well, it was a 10 weeks training for that one fight, and then I kind of got pulled, like, what was it, 2 days before weigh-ins or something like that. Now, thankfully, I wasn't putting much weight at all. Like, that was at lightweight, and I can make lightweight very easily. But the fact that I didn't get a break, I got a bit of a break, but I didn't take a long break at all after. Like, if I wanted to
keep momentum going into the kind of training, I guess, eh?
But like, I'm developing as an athlete all the time with PUA Health and Fitness, and they're bringing me to the next level. So we just went straight away back in training with them, lifting weights every day and sprints and all these different crazy stuff that he has me doing now, which is only going to improve. We went straight back in training again. So it's been basically a year and a half of just training flat out. Like, nice. So I
Nice one. And you mentioned about your weight there. You have competed at welterweight level, lightweight. You've competed at catch weight as well. Where do you see yourself competing? Do you see yourself as a lightweight, or would you think maybe going lower down in the weights, or maybe at welterweight? What are you thinking when it comes to the weights?
Well, amateur, like I said, I just took fights wherever I could, whenever I could, whatever. Like, but now, for professional, I was saying, like, featherweight is the way to go for me. I'm a tall featherweight. I'm 5'11", say I'm 6 foot, and long enough, and I can make featherweight all right. I just need to do the dieting correctly, which I can do now because I have the PUA Health and Fitness behind me, So I think featherweight is the way to go. We took this one at 70 because it was the only thing I could get, and I wanted to fight. So we just took it anyway.
For sure, I get you. Not going really too far ahead into your career, but we see a lot of upcoming pro fighters now go down a couple of different routes where you have the option of maybe Bellator, you have the option of Cage Warriors, there's Brave FC out there, you have obviously the local Irish scene and the UK scene as well. Where do you see your path in the professional MMA ranks? Do you have any indication or what you would like to do, where you would like to go? Or obviously, is the UFC the ultimate goal?
Well, wherever the money is, really, to be honest. If the UFC are giving me good money, I'll go there. If Bellator are giving me, but what I wanted to do with the start of my career is I didn't want to sign like a multi-fight contract with say Cage Warriors and just fight in England 2 times a year or 3 times or whatever. I wanted to travel around, or like go to the UAE or wherever. Just get like one fight, go to different countries, random countries all over the place, and just travel a bit. And then when I have a few fights behind me, then lock into a multi-fight contract with a bit more money in it and things like that. I'll have more value then.
For sure. Yeah, I get you. So yeah, you're just basically looking to kind of stay maybe on the regional scene for the first couple of fights and get a couple of wins under your belt, and then maybe think of the next move after that then.
Well, not regional.
You go all over the world. You want to travel all over the world. Anything, yeah. That's good. So Ryan's plan is fighting on the same card as you at this Birmingham show. Is that correct? You doing much? I see you doing some work with him. Are you going to be utilizing him mainly as a training partner, or would there be a bit of a weight discrepancy there? Or?
Yeah, we do a lot. So there is a big weight discrepancy, but we do. We roll, obviously. And we just do a lot of flow sparring. We used to kind of spar a lot harder, and we recently in our gym we don't really spar that hard anymore because we had fights coming up or things like that. Fights are falling through, so we're just flow sparring all the time, and every single we're all finding huge benefits from it. Like just playing, kind of having more fun. No injury, cuts, no fucking concussions, nothing. There's no injuries.
And that seems to be kind of an old school method of training where you're going in there and you're basically fighting in the gym. I know a lot of the older fighters would have done that, and maybe some fighters are doing that right now. You don't see really too much benefits in heavy sparring. Are you mainly flow sparring all the time, or are you doing some heavy rounds, or how does that work down at SBG?
So like grappling, we go 100%. We go balls to the wall. But myself anyway, I don't see the benefit in hard sparring anymore at all. Like I'm just kind of it's important to like feel that stress and be in those stressful situations when you're getting hit and all that. But I think that I want to last a long time in the sport. So I don't want to be taking unnecessary shots in my head, even if it's in training. It's not really worth it. Like I know there's certain, like you need to be able to get ready for a fight, but if I can last 5 years longer than someone who's been training hard, you know, I'm going to have 5 more years experience, and my body's going to be in a better shape when I decide to retire from the sport. Which is a big thing to me. I don't want to do it when my health gets like deteriorating. Like I want to call it quits and have a good life after this. So
100%, it's a very smart way of thinking about it. I won't keep you for too much longer, Pa, and I appreciate the time that you've taken to speak with us today. I guess, you know, the last thing that I'll ask you is just if you could give us a full-on prediction. How do you think your fight is exactly going to go against Nathan Epps this coming July? We're a bit out from it yet, but I'm sure you have an idea of how you would like the fight to go.
Yeah, I think on the feet I'm going to be too fast for him, for sure. He's going to throw he throws a lot of roundhouse body kicks and leg kicks, but I think I'll be too quick for him. I'll probably take him down, wear him out right now. I'll probably take him down, let him up, and then spark him out. That's the plan anyway. But we'll see. I might submit him. I've been looking for. I want to prove my jiu-jitsu game to people. Like I haven't really shown that in many of my fights, so I want to show my improved jiu-jitsu as well, and wrestling.
Nice. So we caught a glimpse of that in your last fight for sure. Anyway, and we look forward to seeing what's in store for you down the road, Pat. Thanks again for joining us. I really appreciate taking the time to speak with us today, and I'm sure that we'll sit down and have a chat again, maybe after the fight or towards your next fight as well. We wish you all the best, and once again, thanks for taking the time. You can see Pa fighting on Battle Arena in Birmingham, and that's on Saturday, July 24th. Pa is one of the top prospects coming out of Irish MMA right now, so be sure to tune in and give him the support that he deserves on that day. We'll just leave it there for now. Pa, thanks once again for joining us, and we'll chat to you again soon. Thanks everybody for listening, and we'll see you again soon sometime.